All right, call the meeting to order for Monday, March 16th, 2026. If you would stand and face the flag, the last two to call for release in the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tootie. Next up on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes for March 2nd, 2026. I have it that you guys have had a chance to look over those. If there aren't any questions or concerns with those, I'll entertain a motion and a second.
So moved.
I
Motion
second
by
it.
George, second by Clayton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next up is the approval and ratification of the bills. Those were sent out last week also to go over. If there aren't any questions or concerns from anyone, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve those bills.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton, second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have Jeff Carter with Taylor Polson and Company, and he's going to go through our latest audit with us.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to apologize for missing the last meeting that when I was supposed to present, due to some illnesses and different things that have came up. Kind of delayed us a little bit on presenting the audit this year, and I apologize for that, but there's some illnesses on that side. What you should have is the June 30th, 2025 audit. It's in the binder. That's what we're going to start with, bound book. And I will move quickly to page 5. The top of page 5 there has the opinions right there in the center. And what this is our report on the financial statements, and it talks about, in the first paragraph, what we audited, which is the governmental activities, the discretely presented component units, and each major fund of the city of Leitchfield as of June 30th, 25. And then the second paragraph, it states, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the aggregate discretely presented component units, and each major fund of the city of Leitchfield as of June 30th, 2025. That is a modified opinion or a clean opinion or unqualified opinion on there, which means that there is nothing that needs to be added to or taken away from these financial statements as of the date of June 30th, 2025. The rest of the report talks about how we base our opinion, who's responsible for the financial statements, what our responsibility are in auditing the financial statements, and what supplementary information is included in the financial statements, what's required, what's added, and what other reporting requirements you have. So from there, I will skip over to page 9. What page 9 shows you is the net position of the city of Leitchfield as of June 30th, 25 compared to June 30th, 2024. Shows that your assets increased around 1.2 million to 15 million. Your non-current assets decreased from 1.7 million to 264,000. That was reclassification of some of the restricted cash. And then your capital assets increased from 17.3 million to 20 million. Your total assets increased around 2.3 million, from 33 million to 35.3 million, and the deferred outflows come from the state of Kentucky. The liabilities increased about 300,000 from 1.4 to 1.7. The long-term liabilities increased about 500,000 from 14 million to 14.5. The total liabilities, the amount that you owe, from 15.4 to 16.2. Deferred inflows, again, are from the state of Kentucky. And then as you see, your investment in capital assets increased around $2 million. The restricted went down, and your unrestricted increased around $2 million as well, for a total of 17.7 million compared to 16.6. Page 10 shows your operating results compared 24 to 25 for the, and this is for the city in and of itself. So your total revenues increased from 2.2 to 13.6. That's a $1.4 million increase. Your expenses for the governmental activities there increased from 9.9 to 11.5. That is about $1.6 million. Your change in net position was a positive $2,084,000, and your net position again is $17.7 million. Any questions on that? Where we will skip, the rest of this part of this section talks about all that in a little more detail that I just went over. We will go to page 14 and 15. This shows the first statement that I went over, broken down in a little more detail, what makes up that $15 million. 13.2 is in cash, the rest of it is in your receivables and the different types. Then you also see in your report the Utility Commission and the Tourism Commission, which it shows your total assets in them for current was 8.7 and 2.5 in the tourism, and then 15 million in the city. Your non-current assets, the restricted parts, and your land and building equipment, you can see it's 20.2 for the city, it's 30.9 for utilities, and it's 4.1 for tourism. Total assets is 35.3 for the city, and then 39.6 for utilities, 6.7 for tourism. Move over to page 15, it shows your current liabilities. And your current liabilities, meaning due within 1 year, is 1.7 million for the city, and it's broken down in detail. The utilities is $1 million, and the tourism is 287,000. And then you show your non-current liabilities, which is due greater than a year. That's mostly your bonds and debts, showing 14.5 that the city owes, 16.2 for utilities, and 2.8 for tourism. And again, at the bottom is the net position broken down into those categories. Any questions on? We've moved to 16 and 17, 8 and 18. This shows, again, the primary government at the top is the second financial statements that we went over in comparison, broken down in detail for your expenses, your charges for services, etc. Down below shows your component units, which is your water or sewer and gas or utility system, and then your tourism commission at the bottom. If we turn to page 18, from customers and things, it shows that the city had a $6.8 million negative change there, but then you can take into account all of your taxes and licenses down here below and the other general revenues, showing a income of $2,084,000. Utilities had a $214,000 gain from charges for customers against expenses, and then $278,000 in general revenues, meaning they had a change of $492,000 profit, and tourism then had a $402,000 profit for the year. Page 19 is the fund financial statement, and this is a modified cash financial statement, which means we do not record debt or the capital assets on there. So your total assets is 15.3 on the fund basis, your liabilities are at 827, and your fund balance is 14.4 million. And this is what you all normally are used to seeing, what you go by when you budget. It's more the cash basis, what Sabrina presents to you. And then page 20 reconciles those numbers back to the first financial statement I went over and shows the difference, picking up the capital assets and the debts and things. Page 21 is the fund financial statement for the revenue and expenditures on the cash basis. So this is where you show total revenues of 13.6, total expenditures 15.5, and that shows all of your capital outlay, what you spent on public safety, public works, in those areas, the fire truck and different things like that are expensed there, showing a loss of 1.8 million there. And then as you come over, your proceeds from debt and everything brought that loss down to 346,000. Now that is a cash loss, but when you convert to accrual, that loss actually goes away. And that's what page 23 shows. Shows that cash loss of 346, and then when you pull those items out that had to be capitalized or taking over time, it shows that you actually had a 2.08 million profit. Any questions on that? The next section is the footnotes that explains how all those numbers get there, or why we account for them this way, or why Sabrina accounts for them this way. But what I'll point out to you is page 31 and 32. 31 and 32 shows you what you have invested in the capital assets, whether it's land, construction, buildings and improvements, all the way down for that 17.3 million. At the beginning of the year, going to 20.03 million at the end of the year, and it shows what additions was added to those assets, how much depreciation has been taken on those assets. And then it does the same thing on page 32 for your utility system and your tourism. Okay. And then if we move to page 35, 35 shows all of your bonds and all your debt and leases that are owed, how much you've reduced them this year in the reductions column, how much is going to be due in the next year. So you had a balance beginning at 7/1/24, 14.5 million. You added 1.4 million to it. You reduced it by 854,000. Your ending balance that you owe is 15.1 million, and due in a year is 636,000. And then it shows again below what the utility system and tourism owes on their debt as well. We'll move to page 58 and 59. That will show your budget, how you all budgeted, your original budget, your final budget after amendments, and then what your variances were. And as you can see, you budgeted for 23 million. You had a project in there that you took out of $2 million, and dropped the budget in the final amendment down to 12.7. You actually had revenues at 13.8, and you had a $1.1 million favorable variance there. Then as we go to the total expenditures, you had budgeted for 26.3, which included that project. You took that out, amended to 16.6. You actually only spent 14.9. You had a favorable of 1.6 million. Total favorable 2.7 million, and as you come over, your total favorable is 3.9 million compared to your fund balance to what you have budgeted a fund balance for. And then page 60 reconciles those numbers. I will flip to give you just a glimpse. On page 72, 73, et cetera, those are the total, the caption totals that are on the front financial statements. Those are broken down as to how much you spend on each expenditure. Page 77 is how much money you had in federal grants that you spent in that calendar year. You spent 1.6 million in federal grants. And then page 78 talks about what was the major programs and what was the type of programs. Page 79 and 80 is a report on internal control and compliance, and there is no internal control issues reported in this. There is no compliance issues reported in this. And 81 and 82, 81 to 83, is the federal programs report on internal control and compliance. And as I will point out, there is no issues noted in that. If you turn to page 84, it tells you that we issued a unmodified opinion on the financial statements as a whole. There's no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. There's no instances of non-compliance. and there's no deficiencies or material weaknesses over grants. The audit report on compliance also was unmodified. Therefore, there are no audit findings to be reported in this report. Any questions? The other letter that you have, Mayor, real quick, talks about basically what all went over, tells what the qualitative aspects of the accounting practices are for the city, which there are two. It's the landfill and post-closure, and then it's the OPEB and pension, which comes from the state. That there was no difficulties in performing the audit. The two entries that were made comes from the state of Kentucky that have to be made every year. That's to do with the pension and the OPEB to correct them to what they said the liability is. And there was no disagreements with management. Representation letter has been signed. There's no other issues. That's what the letter says.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any questions? I appreciate it, guys.
We appreciate your time, buddy. All right. Next up is Michelle Kale.
So do we
With
need
CASA?
to take a vote on that? Yeah. We typically do. We usually take a vote to accept the audit.
Okay. Let her
I'll make a
begin.
motion to accept the audit for 2025.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good evening, and thank you so much for allowing me to come out and speak to you all this evening. My name is Michelle Kale. I'm the Executive Director for CASA of the Heartland. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Children, and we recruit, train, and support community volunteers who advocate for children who are navigating the court system due to abuse and neglect. So not because they've done anything wrong, but because their caregiver or an adult in their life has let them down in some way. In 2025, we served 67 children in Grayson County. 30 of those were new children served, so had not been previously served by CASA, and then 28 of the 67 children that we served had their cases closed. And what that looks like for CASA is we were able to help those children reach permanency, either through reunification with their parents or caregivers, adoption, some type of permanent custody arrangement, maybe with a relative or a family friend, or for older youth, helping them achieve independence and work toward independent living through employment or college. It costs us about $2,100 per year to provide advocacy for one child, which is significantly less than what it costs the state to provide 1 month of foster care. So we see CASA as a wise investment, not only because we're able to do more with less, but the children that have CASA volunteers advocating for them and serving as their voice in the court system are less likely to re-enter the foster care system, do better in school, and ultimately typically break those cycles of abuse. We currently have 8 children in Grayson County on our wait list, and that means that our local court judges have appointed CASA to those children. They've deemed that, that the judges have deemed that they need an extra set of eyes and ears on this case. And that child needs to be represented by a court-appointed special advocate, but we don't currently have individuals who we can assign to those cases. So our overall investment in the community in 2025 was a little over $142,000 based on our cost per child served and the number of children that we served. And the structure that we have for supporting those advocates is we have an advocate coordinator, which serves as our case manager and volunteer supervisor. They can support up to 30 advocates, typically serving anywhere from 60 to 75 children. We do have an advocate coordinator dedicated to Grayson County. And then we also have another employee, our director of operations, that lives and is from Grayson County as well. So overall, we served 312 children across our 6-county region, which includes Hardin, LaRue, Meade, Breckenridge, Grayson, and Hart counties in 2025. And we are respectfully requesting that the city of Litchfield include us in their upcoming budget at the amount of $3,000 to help us strengthen our recruitment efforts here in Litchfield. We onboarded 38 advocates last year. 26 of those advocates took new cases or were assigned to cases in 2025, and the rest of them were sworn in at the end of the year and took cases at the start of 2026. None of the advocates that we have onboarded in the last year are from Grayson County, and we do not want to see children go unserved. So we're asking for your investment to help prioritize and increase recruitment efforts in this community so that way we can ensure that no child goes unserved. And then we also have some community events coming up that we've included in here as well, including our Grayson County pinwheel planting, which will take place on Thursday, April 2nd from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Time at the Center on Main. We're planting 500 pinwheels for Child Abuse Prevention Month to help raise awareness and continue those efforts to recruit volunteers to help serve our local kiddos. What questions do you all have for me?
Where are your pinwheel plantings going to be? Will they be some in each community?
Yes, so we basically go on tour for the last part of March, and we do one pinwheel planting in every county that we serve. So this will be our first year doing 6 pinwheel plantings, and in total, we will plant just over 4,000 pinwheels across our 6-county region.
Thank you.
Are you asking $3,000 from each city in the county?
So we're asking something from every city and county, but not necessarily $3,000. I will tell you that is the same thing that we asked for Grayson County Fiscal Court as well. But we tried to look at each community and be mindful of what the revenue generators are in each city and each county, and what, just what might be a reasonable ask based on what's going on in the community.
I think that that's great, and I think we ought to do our part, we ought to do it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Are you
Thank
talking about with the upcoming budget? Because we're obviously well into this fiscal year.
Yes. We're asking for an allocation and to be included in your upcoming budget.
So this is something that the Budget Committee can discuss whenever we start meeting very soon.
All right, perfect. Do you guys have any other questions for me?
We will discuss it. You want
Yes.
something different than that?
Nope, I appreciate it. That's it. And hopefully we'll see you all at our pinwheel planting in just a couple weeks. So thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank
you a
you.
lot,
Thank
ma'am.
you. All right, next up, our Solid Waste Committee recommendation. Sabrina?
Yes, so the Solid Waste Committee met, and I had informed them that our trash, the people that haul off our trash, they have raised our rates 4%. They do that in January, and so the rates went up to haul it off 4%. After talking to the Solid Waste Committee, we don't think that we need to pass on a 4% increase to the citizens. However, a 1% increase would not affect, it would be about a 30-cent increase for citizens and maybe 22 cents on seniors. That will just help keep us in line to try to recoup some of that 4% that we're having to pay out. So instead of doing a 4% recommendation, they're going to do a 1% increase recommendation for the council to vote on.
Would we have to do it?
It is my recommendation as a finance officer to do that, just to keep us in line. And what that does, Clayton, is that keeps us in line so that we don't have to do what we had to do several years ago. We had to raise rates 10% 3 years in a row, and then do it 3.5% several years in a row. And I think that's a little harder for people to take on when you have to raise it that much just to pay for that increase that we have to pay for. So I think if you do a small increase like 1%, it would help keep us in line where we wouldn't have to do a big increase on the citizens.
Well, I would much rather see a 1% rather than a 4%. So I'll make a motion that we do the 1% increase.
Second.
A motion by Terry, a second by Billy for the 1% increase. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Sabrina.
Sabrina.
The next item on the agenda is, we did an executive order 2026-01, lowering of flags to half-staff. Did this in honor of our past mayor, William Thomason, who recently passed away. His funeral will be tomorrow. So the flags will need to stay at half-staff as far as the city's concerned.
Yes.
Until sunset tomorrow. And let me take this time, since we're talking about Mayor Thomason, to let people know that maybe don't know him. I've known a lot of people in this community. I've known a lot of good people in this community, but I've not known many people that would help anyone in need in any time like Mayor Thomason did. I've personally witnessed him doing things for people that would rarely get done. And I never heard him once ask for any recognition for it. Most of the time, he didn't even want anyone to know that he'd helped someone.
Well, he would go around every year at Christmas time and other time of the year and deliver big baskets, fruit baskets, and all kinds of stuff. And he's always tried to help. And he mentored me, and he just told me to always do what I felt was right. And so that was the thing that always stuck with me, do what I think is right. That doesn't always mean it's right with everybody else, but I feel like the Lord would have me to do the things that way. And so Bill really meant a whole lot to our community and to me, and I know he really was supportive of me, and he tried to tell me when I come on city council, he tried to tell me things to observe for, things to do, things to always take care of the constituents, our constituents, and he said, you'll not go wrong whatever you do.
He was a good man, and this community will miss him. And as I said earlier, to some of the media, this city, I feel like, has lost its best friend.
Yep.
And that's the plainest way I know to explain it in my mind. All right, recommendation from Planning Commission to approve RZ-26-141, property owned by Condor Family Partnership LLC, rezone from R-2, single family, medium density, to I-2, heavy industrial.
This is the first time it's been on. Yeah, they had to take a vote. This is the first time this has been on the agenda, so first we'll have to take a vote to accept the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I make a motion.
I'll second. Motion by Clayton, second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, now I'll have to do the first reading. An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled Zoning Map, Leitchfield, Kentucky, by changing the district classification of the property located in Leitchfield, Kentucky is hereinafter described from R-2, single-family, medium density, to I-2, heavy industrial, whereas the Leitchfield Planning Commission of Leitchfield, Kentucky on March 9th, 2026 held a public hearing on application number RZ-26-141. The property is currently owned by Condor Family Partnership LLC and is designated as property having a PVA number 092-00-00-006, OH, being more particularly described in Deed Book 525, page 583, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at Lot 4 of Holland Ayers subdivision, approximately 1,000 southwest of the intersection of the Eastern Holland Lane entrance in the William Thompson Byway, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from R-2, single family, medium density to I-2 heavy industrial. And whereas city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Leitchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference, and now therefore be it ordained by the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky as follows. Boundaries of the district as shown in district map entitled Zoning Map, Leitchfield, Kentucky, being the same as hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof, is fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated 3/9/2026 to the Litchfield City Council. So the property is described as follows. Property description, refer to property description PVA number 092-00-00-00-006, .0H, deed book 525, page 583. Records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office and being located at Lot 4 of Holland Air subdivision, approximately 1,000 southwest of the intersection at Eastern Holland Lane, enters in the William Thomason Byway, Litchfield, Kentucky, 42754, now zone I-2 heavy industrial. After the adoption of this ordinance shall be full force and effect following publication as required by law. This ordinance or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict.
No further action at this point, is there, Arlene?
No, we'll vote the next meeting.
All right, next up, recommendation from Planning Commission to deny RZ-26-142. Property owned by Donovan Smith, rezoned from R2 Single Family Medium Density to C1 Highway Commercial.
This will need to be voted on to accept their recommendation to deny that request. Based on the findings, there was not, the request didn't meet the findings to be in compliance with the comprehensive plan.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation of planning and zoning.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by George. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, unfinished business, roadblocks, do we have anything significant on that?
I actually emailed everyone out a news article, some case law about a 2017 decision out of Lexington, which basically that case law says you can't specifically deny all panhandling based on the First Amendment. But there are some current, and I actually emailed everyone out, there's a Bowling Green ordinance in place where you can base it on safety and put restrictions in place. So if you want me to start working off of the Bowling Green ordinance, I think that's a good starting point.
Can you put them in a designated area?
Yes, you can, and base it on safety. So,
I wish you would add that, yeah.
yeah, I can do that, and,
Well, it keeps them off the main street.
okay, and that was the main question before I went to
Liability.
drafting it, if you wanted to designate it, like Bowling Green's designates it on sidewalks, if that's kind of the avenue we wanted to take.
Would we still be able to take up money for Crusade for Children? Would our firefighters still be able to do that with this ordinance?
You would not, you'd have to treat all individuals and groups the same. And I know that they collect in the medians, like you
What's
can
the
take the
fine?
median, you can take out the median restriction, that's, you know. Now, Bowling Green prohibits from knocking on windows, doing it in an aggressive manner, anything that puts someone in fear of immediate harm. So I can construct it in that way, and, you know, I can bring it back the next meeting. If you want to make more changes, we can do, we don't have to do a first reading next time. I can bring back a draft.
Please do.
Okay.
Where is that bill that's in the General Assembly right now?
I've spoke to I've spoke to KLC actually about that bill, and they said it's unlikely that it's gonna pass. So, I mean, we can wait on that. I don't know when it's.
They don't have many more days left.
They don't.
I think that we would be.
Did it come
able-
out of the committee?
Yes.
It did.
It
They said
passed.
If it's gonna be out of the committee, they're gonna vote on it.
It passed either the House or the Senate and was going back to the other.
Yeah.
I think that we would, I mean, you can go, I'm okay if you want to go ahead and start working on something, but I feel like that we might have some better guidance when it comes from the state to see what kind, you know, what we can do to adapt to that.
I understand. And, you know, and I think the reason that was formulated, because a lot of cities are facing this issue.
Exactly.
So, it's, I don't think it would hurt anything for me to present a draft, and you all can kind of take it from there of how you want
Right.
to go and proceed.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna skip, the next thing on the agenda for the moment, Firefighters Park. We've got some visitors here, I know that would like to speak on that. And, we'll go ahead and finish the other business real quick. You got anything unfinished, Billy?
No, sir.
Terry?
No.
Terry? Clayton?
No.
Wes, are we starting up Tuesdays and Thursdays at the transfer station now for the extended hours?
I think that starts in April, I believe. I believe, but I'll double check.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Tim?
Mayor, what I have is regarding firefighter park, so I can put that off to later, or I can do it now.
Let's just wait till we get on that subject during
Yes,
our
sir.
visitors here.
That sounds good.
Anybody over here unfinished?
No.
No.
Wesley, when's cleanup day?
April 11th,
8th?
11th.
11th.
April 11th.
Okay. New business, Billy?
No, sir.
Terry?
No.
Judy? No, sir. Clayton?
No.
George?
No, sir.
Tim?
You want to go ahead now?
Let's get the new business and get the other, and then we've got visitors on.
All right,
on the
fair
end.
enough.
Okay. Other business, there will be a personnel committee meeting on April 6th at 5 PM. The next chamber luncheon will be on April 2nd at noon. Please let Lori know no later than noon on Monday, March 30th, if you plan to attend.
And that one is actually a week early due to spring break, so just keep that in mind.
Okay. All right, Tim.
Yes, sir. Before I get started, I wanna say this. Each and every council member and the mayor wants what's best for the city of Litchfield. We all have different skill sets that we bring to bear. I don't know anything about construction, but George does. And each of us bring an individual skill set that I love and appreciate about each and every one of you. I apologize to constituents. I missed the last meeting where this was voted on. Apologize. I was in Texas at a conference, so I have some questions. And as my grandpa used to say, if you don't know something, ask questions. So that's what I'm going to do. To realize the scope of this project, we need to take a look at who we are as a community and where we are. I am for Parks and Rec and the investment in our communities, children and their future. But as a steward of the public trust, I don't want to take from their financial futures with an overburdening tax philosophy. I'm obligated by conscience, by oath, and by the data to ask the questions that, to my knowledge, have not been yet asked, in hopes that the process is fair and diligent. We're going to spend approximately $1.65 million and have ongoing maintenance cost. Currently, the city of Litchfield has a median household income of $47,000. It's 22.3% below the poverty line. The child poverty rate is 40.3%. Our population has diminished by 3.5% since 2010. The city is shrinking. 28.8% of our residents are on Medicaid. 20.8% of our residents are over the age of 65. Around 10% of our community are children ages 2 to 12. We are less than 7.4% of the national average on our population. And our median property value is $156,000, which is about 50% of the national average. The home ownership rate here in Leitchfield, Kentucky is 57.1% versus the national average of 65%. The top employment sectors in Litchfield are healthcare, manufacturing, and food services, traditionally lower wage sectors. The city is shrinking. A declining population means the maintenance burden on any new facility falls on fewer taxpayers each and every year. Long-term fixed obligations become more expensive per resident over time. Who pays and who benefits? The families that are most likely to use this park, those with young children, are the same families least able to absorb a tax increase. 40.3% of the target children live in poverty. Their families cannot afford to fund this. The bottom line is Leitchfield is a modest, aging, economically fragile community with a shrinking population. We have lost a lot of really good paying jobs that would help bear the burden of these taxes. People are leaving our community for opportunities. If on top of that we create a tax burden, then high wage earners have the choice of leaving the city, relocating businesses, and not investing in our city. Committing a $1.65 million in capital plus $50,000 to $100,000 in maintenance costs every year without a community survey, competitive bids, independent consultants, a 20-year maintenance plan is not good stewardship of taxpayer dollars. We should survey the community, solicit bids, plan the full life cycle cost, and then we should make that decision. These are the questions that are not in opposition to the park. They are just my due diligence. They are the minimum standard of due diligence that I feel as a responsible steward of public funds that must be asked. And these are rhetorical questions as a community that you need to ask of us, your elected representatives. Has a community been formally surveyed to determine whether residents support this project, are willing to accept the associated tax increase? A multi-million-dollar public commitment made without a community survey is an oversight. Are residents willing to accept a tax increase representing approximately 20% of the city's annual budget to fund this project, including both capital and ongoing cost? The answer must come from the community, from our voters, our constituents, not from us. Has the city commissioned an independent analysis of the actual per household tax increase broken down by income bracket? And here's why it matters. A $200 a year increase hits a household earning $31,000 differently than one earning $75,000 per year. Litchfield's median renter income is $31,384. So the most people that would be impacted are our senior citizens that lived on fixed incomes and our single-parent households that are barely putting food on the table now that have to absorb a tax increase. We should engage multiple vendors for quotes. Capitalism is the greatest wealth builder the world has ever seen, and at its core is competition. Competition is the foundation of responsible public procurement. At least 3 qualified vendors should be solicited. Guys, we're good at a lot of things, but we are not really good at play sets. We need to seek some independent consultants to help us out here, because the money that we're spending is so very much and such a burden on our taxpayers. Advice from the company selling the product is not independent expertise. An unaffiliated consultant should evaluate this before we make any commitments. Why are we so urgently pursuing this? A project of this scale requires a realistic timeline of 12 to 24 months, minimum for due diligence, competitive bidding, design, finalization, permitting, and construction. Artificial timelines compress deliberation on decisions that would cost taxpayers millions. Urgency must be explained. Has an independent economic impact study been commissioned to validate claims of tourism revenue? Are we making a multi-million-dollar assumption without data? Here's why that matters. Will visitors eat at local restaurants? Will they stay in local hotels? Will they shop locally? Without a study, we're committing public funds on anecdotal optimism. What are the ongoing maintenance costs of operating this playground? That includes surfacing, resurfacing, increased cost of liability insurance, purchasing a recirculatory system, or the increased cost of thousands of gallons of water to our treatment plant, increased manpower for the people we have to hire to do those things, the cameras and somebody to monitor these cameras, additional personnel, vandalism, wear and tear on equipment. The ongoing costs can range from $50,000 to $100,000 a year for a project this large. Here's why it matters. With a shrinking population that is getting demographically older, losing high-paying jobs, and the poverty level in this city, the fixed cost of maintenance cost us opportunity. There's an opportunity cost to this decision. It may hamstring future leaders and future budgeting processes. I spoke with Jan Brown, the program administrator for the state of Kentucky over public pool and water facilities. She said we should be aware of the increased cost of sending thousands of gallons daily to a water treatment plant unless we employ a recirculatory system, which is $200,000 to $400,000. There's increased chemical and increased manpower. Is this project using a water recirculation or filtration system? They have a 15 to 20 year lifespan with significant mid-cycle maintenance cost. Has this been fully budgeted? If the project uses a run-to-drain model instead of recirculation, have we accounted for the cost of those thousands of gallons to the treatment plant? And this is why it matters. The ongoing cost is often overlooked in the planning stage and becomes a significant annual budget item. Was the fully priced cost of fencing for this facility? Fencing for a facility this size and location, given safety and security requirements, represent a significant line item that must be explicitly quoted. If the project is financed through borrowing, what are the annual debt service costs, principal and interest, over the full term of the loan? Here's why that matters. Debt service can add 5 to 8% per year to the effective cost of a project. Taxpayers deserve to know the full financial obligation, not just the sticker price. What is the opportunity cost? What else could 1.65 million plus 50 to 100,000 of ongoing operating expenses accomplish for Leitchfield's 6,500 residents? Here's why that matters. Has formal needs assessment compared this proposal against other pressing infrastructure priorities, roads, water lines, sewer, public safety equipment, social services, wages? Have we done a Gantt chart that fully prepares all of those items out for the future? If not, we should. Should the city establish a contingency fund equal to at least 10% of the project cost for the repair, unforeseen maintenance, and emergency expenses? Here's why that matters. No capital project of this scale should proceed without a dedicated contingency reserve. Surprise costs without reserve funding fall directly on the operating budget. How many children ages 2 to 12 actually live within city limits? Census data tells us that approximately 650 to 700 children. At a capital cost of $1.65 million, if every child used that playground, we are spending $2,357 per child. and they use that regularly every day. The industry rule of thumb is that we should spend $1,000 per child, and that's the maximum responsible benchmark for a community playground investment. This project exceeds that amount by 2.4 times. After the novelty effect fades, which is typically 60 to 90 days, data purchase typically stabilizes significantly. If 200 children use this facility daily, the cost is $8,250 per child. If 100 do, it's $16,500 per child. Here's why that matters. How many children currently use the existing Firefighters playground on an average daily basis across all 4 seasons? We cannot rely on anecdotal projections for a $1.65 million commitment. We should know that number. Communities of comparable size, including those much larger than Leitchfield, do not build playgrounds of this scale. Why should Leitchfield accept this financial burden when you have to look at much bigger cities like Owensboro, Nashville, Louisville, Covington to find playgrounds about the size that we're thinking about building? Here's why it matters. Research consistently shows that facilities of this size place an unsustainable burden on a small city taxpayers through both capital cost and ongoing operational obligations. Has the council considered phasing this project beginning with a core structure not exceeding $800,000 before committing to the splash pad and full build out? Here's why that matters. Phasing protects taxpayers. It allows performance evaluation before further commitment and positions the city to adapt if we have changes in our economic conditions. If we lose jobs, or if we get a large plant, we can move it forward quicker. How frequently must the surfacing be replaced, and what is the projected replacement cost? Poured-in-place rubber surfacing has a typical lifespan of 7 to 10 years. Surfacing replacement is often the single largest recurring maintenance expense and is frequently omitted from the initial budget presentations. Is there a written 20-year capital plan for this facility that accounts for equipment replacement, splash pad system life cycle, surfacing replacement, staffing, and water treatment obligations with identified funding sources for each? Without a written life cycle plan, future council inherits an unfunded obligation. The time to plan for replacement is before the facility opens. Has the city budgeted for an annual certified playground safety inspections and established a documented maintenance schedule? Here's why that matters. A documented maintenance program is the city's primary legal defense in the event of a liability claim. The absence of one is a very bad day in court. Has the Kentucky League of Cities, as the city's risk management provider, been asked to provide a written actuarial assessment of the increased insurance premium exposure, including the splash pad, enclosed structural elements, and documented crime history of this specific location? Here's why that matters. A verbal conversation is not sufficient for a commitment of this scale. A written assessment with a dollar figure for the annual premium increase should be known by the public, by the council. Will the splash pad be staffed? If it operates unsupervised, what are the specific additional liability insurance costs? And what does the city's legal counsel say about the exposure? Here's why that matters. Unsupervised water features carry substantially higher liability exposure. This must be documented in writing before the facility is approved. The proposed design includes 3 fully or semi-enclosed structures that create visibility blind spots in the neighborhood with documented drug activity and criminal history. Has legal counsel specifically evaluated these elements for attractive nuisance liability? From a risk management underwriting standpoint, enclosed structures in high crime locations are called attractive nuisances. The legal exposure is real and must be assessed. Has the chief of police provided a written assessment of the patrol and staffing requirements this facility will create given the documented crime history of the surrounding area? Law enforcement resources are not unlimited. Should we consider that a high-profile, publicized attraction in an area with existing drug activity could accelerate criminal activity at this location rather than deter it? Increased foot traffic in close spaces, reduced natural surveillance, can create conditions that attract rather than reduce criminal behavior. What is the camera coverage plan for this facility? Who monitors the footage? How quickly are incidents reviewed? And what is the annual cost of the monitoring system? Camera systems without an active monitoring protocols provide limited deterrence and a limited legal protection. The coverage plan and monitoring responsibility must be defined before opening. The question that can't be avoided, given that we have not conducted a community survey, have not solicited competitive bids, have not engaged independent consultants, have not received a written assessment, and have not produced a 20-year maintenance budget, what is the justification for our urgency? What are we risking by taking 90 days to do this properly? Why this matters. This is not opposition to the park. I would love for our kids to be able to have Kentucky Kingdom, Holiday World, and Kings Island all rolled into one right here in Leitchfield, but not at the cost of their economic futures. Higher tax burdens on our seniors. Single moms having to make horrible choices, whether to put food on the table or pay their tax bill. That's all I have, gentlemen.
Anyone else have anything?
Mayor,
Yeah, I
may
don't-
say that, talking about the taxes and things, isn't some of this gonna be funded by tourism?
Financials on it had been worked out. Tim, you were out of town last week, I think, and we
Yes,
talked
sir.
about this.
Okay.
That's probably the reason you didn't know about it.
I did not know about that.
At no point have we ever discussed raising any taxes whatsoever to help fund this project. We have funding. I hate that you missed our last meeting, because before that, we also had a Parks and Rec meeting where you could have gotten a lot of those questions answered, especially about like $50,000 to $100,000 yearly maintenance, $1.65 million project, and tourism did agree to $150,000 per year for 7 years. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that right now. If you wanna
Well,
let
I'll
our
rebut
visitors
that
speak.
for a second, Ms. Haycraft. I'll say this. If tourism did provide us money, that's great. However, I don't see how they could justify it, because this is not a tourism draw. There is no return on investment there.
You don't think it's a tourism draw?
Absolutely not. And
I disagree.
here's why. When people come to parks, they bring picnic lunches, and they come from out of town, they use our facilities. There's an increased wear and tear on those, Billy, and there's no way for us to recoup those either through taxes or
I
tourism
think most of them are
dollars.
stopping at restaurants, getting a meal and going out there and eating.
I can speak on the tourism dollars. I actually spoke with our auditor about that, and this actually is 100% what tourism dollars is for. And the funding that they have, that he said this is actually what that tourism dollars are for. So I did speak with the auditor on that. I just wanted to make that very
Sure.
clear, that tourism dollars are for a project
And that goes
of
through our
this
restaurant
scale
taxes.
for
Yeah,
this.
and-
Yeah,
and
that's restaurant
That's tax
taxes.
dollars that people that eat at our restaurants pay. So they're, in fact, they originate from taxpayers.
Right. And I know people that would drive to like Owensboro to their park if they have a really nice park. So I believe people would
Yeah,
come
it's
to
a very
town
nice
to
park
drive to
there.
this park if it was a really nice park. That's why I think it justifies bringing tourism in here. But I just wanted to clarify that this is in fact
Well,
tourism
we can't
dollars,
be
that we can
anecdotal
use
about
that.
it. We have to be able to prove it some way through a survey. We can say whatever we want and be anecdotal, but we have to have proof.
Not according to the auditor. He said that this is actually what tourism dollars are for.
Well,
How we ever got to
as
the
an
moon.
elected official, I bear a burden
I
of
don't know how we ever got to the
responsibility to
moon.
make sure that every single taxpayer penny
Where we're
is
going.
held as the precious commodity that it truly is, and not spent like it's not my money.
Now, those would have been really good conversations to have last week during our Parks and Rec committee, whenever our Parks and Rec director had all of the numbers, figures, he had it all lined out. Are we ready to open it up to visitors?
Absolutely.
Who's first?
Hello, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to council and mayor. My name is Tammy Phillips. I'm the owner of Miracle Playgrounds of Kentucky and Tennessee, which is a local Leitchfield company. We've been in business for 27 years, and we are located down on Commerce Drive. Some of you I know, some of them I've known for a while, Tootie and a few others. We'd like to bring to the table, we just found out on K105 that a playground was being planned in the city. We had talked to Park and Rec directors in the past. We have done a couple of your playgrounds in the past. And we'd like to have the opportunity to at least present what we're capable of doing. We are, like I said, local. Our employees are all local. They all live in the city or in the county. And we just love to have the opportunity to show you all what we can do and what we can give you. I think you'll find our commitment to this city is very, very large in our cost. I know the two playgrounds that you all had before, you all did go out to bid on those, and it was a competitive bid, and we were awarded the bid because we are local. And because we are local, we're very committed to this community and our resources and things like that. Y'all just mentioned Owensboro. That is one of ours. For those of you who have seen the Owensboro Playground, that shows you the magnitude that we can do. That is one of the largest playgrounds in the state, and it's also a very inclusive playground for children of all abilities. So I would just ask the committee to think, or to give us an opportunity to at least show you what we can do and what we can offer, being a local business. I'm not asking for you to hand it to me. I'm asking you that if I could have a fair chance at showing you what we can do and what we can provide.
Can I ask a question real
Sure.
quick? So in the past, so you've done Bevel
Yes.
and you've done, did you do
DeWitt.
Firefighter or you did DeWitt?
Yes.
So
Did
in the
not do
past,
firefighter.
whenever you, that playground equipment was put there, I know that the Century part of it, that was through maybe a grant?
Yes, that was a donation. The city
That
did not
was a
pay for that.
Grant
That's
slash
correct.
donation. So
Right.
the actual playground equipment, you all, that was there prior to that, your company did that?
No, that was prior, no. It was done probably 20-some years ago. No.
So
and
you didn't do the playground equipment other than just like the Century?
We did the playground equipment that is currently there now,
That is-
and the Sensory, both there and at DeWitt Park. We also have playground equipment at every school in the county.
So how did that process go about? I mean, did you just,
They put it out to bid.
they put it out to bid and
Yes,
you
the city
got
put it
the
out to bid. Yes, it was an open competitive bid. Yes, we approached them at the time and said that we had Sourcewell, and they said the city doesn't do that, that they put everything out to bid. That was fine. It was a competitive bid. I think they got several bids. But like I said, we're local, we're here, and we definitely, our numbers will show that.
Tammy,
We're-
do you have any idea what year that Bevel Park was done? How old that is?
19,
In 19?
yes.
Have you had any major complaints on that?
No.
So far from the city?
No, we have not. None that I know of whatsoever. We even cover a lot of things that most people don't cover. We fix things for, if something does happen, even under vandalism, which you have had some vandalism at the Sensory, and we've covered that. We don't charge to go over and fix it. That's something we offer everybody, which no other company does, just because, we don't really have a whole lot of issues, but we want to fix it because we have special tools, everything's stainless steel hardware. We don't want anybody going down to Lowe's and buying something, so we are very on the spot. My office is 5 minutes from the parks, so it's something that if something did happen, your playground's not going to be shut down for weeks, months in some cases, trying to get things. We carry a lot of parts and pieces. We also run our own install crews. My husband is in charge of our installs. We're family owned and operated. Both of my children, who went to Grayson County High Schools and was raised here, is in the business. All of our employees live in this county. So we support a lot of businesses here. First thing we do, something happens, we go on and say, you know, I needed a generator. You know, I went on Grayson County. I didn't go to E-Town or anything like that. First thing we did, looked up locals. You know, we try to buy local. We buy a lot of furniture local. Everything we can buy local, we do. We're committed to this community.
And the one you did in Owensboro, I visited that several times. What's your ratings that you've got from people on that project over there?
I'm sorry, what's the word?
George, I can't hear you. Is your mic on?
Can't hear you.
Is your mic on?
Yeah. What was the ratings that you received on that in Owensboro?
The raves?
The ratings.
We was rated #1 in the nation on Architectural Digest. That particular playground was. It's been rated in the top 10 for several years. That playground is 26,000 square feet with thousands of kiddos playing on it constantly. We do a lot of work with the city of Owensboro, and we're very on the spot with, you know, any of our repairs or anything that needs to be done.
Well, I think you should get an opportunity to make a proposal for it.
I appreciate
For the
that.
mere fact that you are in the city of Leitchfield, and I think it is our due diligence to let you have a proposal that you can submit, and not just from you, but I think any. I think my constituents put me here to make it fair for everybody, and especially the people that own business in the city.
Well,
So-
we're talking
Thank you.
about hometown, support our hometown, do this, do that with hometown. And hometown is where it's at, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, and I think that y'all need to be given an opportunity to, if you don't have the bid ready right now, at least get the bid ready and present it again to us. And I think you all, by being a hometown firm and everything, we need to take that in consideration and allow you all to make the bid and see. And
Whether you receive it or not, that's not the point. The point is give you an opportunity.
I appreciate that.
And
That's all I'm asking.
well,
I just think that's,
well,
I'm one guy, but I think that's fair for each business, especially if you're located in this city and we have a project. We got to consider you guys. You're paying the taxes, you're paying the employees, that live here, my opinion, guys.
exactly.
I appreciate
How many
that
employees do you have,
consideration.
Tammy? How many?
Right now, I think we got 13.
13?
13, yeah, it kind of goes back and forth at different times of the year.
And you're located down on the end of Commerce on the
We're in the
right?
very end of Commerce, the last office on the left. I would love any of you all to come visit us, come see our facilities, come see that, you know, we're here, we're invested. Before there, we were out on Highway 54, where our offices was out there. Like I said, we've been in business 27 years, and I started the business here.
You have super
So
nice
I'm a
office.
retired police officer from Louisville, moved down 32 years ago, so this is home.
You may not remember it. I met you several years ago. I went to give some estimates on your house when you was down there, and I recognized some of the playground equipment that you had, so. I'm like,
We
really
take great
glad.
pride in our work. We're also American-made. Most of our equipment, 95% of it's made in Monette, Missouri. So our shades are made in Dallas, Texas, so we're not from out of state. They're made out of state, but not out of the country. So that's important right now. We meet all the guidelines. We specialize ourselves in inclusive play. We have an autistic grandson, and we think, so it's kind of personal too. I know we have a lot of that here in the county. So we were very, very cautious of that type of thing, and we really want to have the opportunity to show your constituents, you know, we care.
Well, since you did projects before, you know, I'm not willing to burn that bridge with you right now. so
Exactly.
I won't give you that opportunity.
Thank you for your consideration. I really appreciate it.
I do have one
Tammy,
more question.
Go ahead.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had heard our previous Parks and Rec director, you know, speak about Miracle. I didn't know that you were local. I've never seen anything local about Miracle. Whenever I started getting messages about Shop Local, you're on Commerce Drive, like I had to drive down there to see where you were even located. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just going off of like what I have researched and learned in the past. So you're a regional distributor, is that correct? Or
No.
you have nothing at all to do with Miracle Recreation?
We're a vendor of theirs. We buy, Miracle Kentucky, Tennessee is owned by myself. That is one of our suppliers, Miracle Recreation. We have about 20 different suppliers, depending on if it's a site amenity or USA Shade is our shade company, Wabash is our, site amenity company. So we are independently owned and operated. Miracle Recreation is who we buy the bulk of our equipment from, and that's who we do our designs off of, yes.
Okay, that was a question that I had, because everything that I kept pulling up about you kept going back to Miracle Recreation, which was based out of Missouri, Michigan, I don't know.
Monette, Missouri. Yes, that's where the factory is.
And they listed you specifically as a regional, like you were their regional distributor for their company. Like on their website, whenever you type in, because they're listed, they have regional distributors all over the country. And whenever you clicked on Kentucky and you put in the zip code or whatever, you were who came up. So that was a question that I had.
Right, we're not really a distributor. Distributors would mean they would bill, and they would do that. We bill our own, we buy direct from them, we pay them directly. They do not invoice, they do not have any contact with our customers in any way, shape, or form. It'd be like I said, we're not affiliated. When I started this company 27 years ago, Miracle had a great name, so I just happened to name our company that because they already had the marketing, they had everything, and I started the company basically with $500 in my basement. So I thought, I'm going to piggyback on this name, and they allowed it. But that name is registered in the state of Kentucky through the Secretary of State, and the two are not affiliated. Just happens to be the name because I found that was a good marketing ploy for me to do.
And
so.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
Because, all of this is relatively new to most of us who are sitting on here, even though some of us have been up here for a bit. This is not to this extent, but and it has even been in the media since June of 2025 that we have been talking about changes to Firefighter Park since at least June of 2025. We've talked about splash pad expansions. We've talked about playground equipment. We knew we were going to have new playground equipment due to another project that's going to be taking place there. And those conversations have been happening openly since at least June of 2025. So.
But you said you just heard that a week or so ago.
We just heard that, just back up a little bit, probably 2 years ago, we were very close contact with your park and rec person
Right.
at the time. We actually gave them a plan for that park.
We never
And it
saw
came
it.
back and the city said they did not have the budget for it, and that was 2 years ago.
Did we see that?
3 years ago, 3 years ago, that there was not a budget, and it was given to your Park and Rec department. Normally, that's who we go through.
Right.
Any city, county that has a Park and Rec department, that's who we reach out to.
Right.
And then we give that on. So we said, here's a design. They said the budget wasn't there, and so that's where we had put it. We were in very close contact with your Park and Rec person.
Right.
At the
And-
time, and so that's where it was left. We don't high pressure sell, that's just not who we are.
I would have just thought that, and again, most of us are relatively new at this. I would have thought that since you were local and that we had been talking about this, and it was in the paper, it was on K105, off and on since at least June, that maybe, did you reach out to our Parks and Rec
Yes, we did.
director?
What did they say?
Since June of 25?
Yes, we've been in
Saying that,
contact with
I heard you all are in the, looking for this. What are you looking for?
Did we reach out to you?
No, you did not.
Did you reach out to us?
I reached out to your Park and Rec director at the time,
At what
yes.
point?
I could not tell you the exact.
I mean, since June of
Yeah,
2025, you have.
Yes, we were in very close contact with your park and rec director at the time until the time she was let go, and as everybody knows here,
Because
she now
that
works
never
for me.
got to us.
So, I'm sorry.
That never got to us.
Okay, well,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Right.
That could be part of the miscommunication because that never got to us.
well, and, you know, we are here, and you all have bought from us. You know, like I said, I don't high pressure sell anybody.
It can be a two-way street, okay? We can either come after you or you come after us. We're needing the product. You're trying to get rid of the product. I think there's a miscommunication that happened that could have been easily taken care of if both of us, yeah, I'm not gonna say we're all right, and I'm not gonna say you're, I mean, I think we missed the opportunity there then, that hopefully we can get back with whatever, just like I said, we're trying to stay with Sourceware,
And we are on
Exactly.
Sourcewell.
is what we're trying to do.
Right.
And it may be limited to that with the proposal. I have no idea if you're in it or not, but I can tell you, there's a lot of people in this community that didn't know you were there.
We are on Sourcewell.
Lots
We've been
of
on it
people.
for years. And we actually tried to get the city to buy off of it when we did the last park, and they just absolutely said, we're putting it out to bid. So we assumed that that would be the protocol still. But again, like I say, we've been down on Commerce now, I think about 8, 9 years, and then we were out 54 for a while. I know Tootie from way back when, some real estate from way back when, you know, we were here, and a few others of you. But all I'm asking for is just the opportunity to show you what we can do and what we can do for the citizens of,
Tammy?
Well, you
Okay.
should have.
One quick question. We're gonna need to spec this out, and it'll take us about 30 days. Can you put a bid together in about 60 days from?
yes,
from
that's
this
not a
period?
problem at all.
That's not a problem, okay.
No, that would not be a problem at all.
If the rest of the council agrees.
Can you do one in 30 days?
Yes.
Now, we're talking about a splash pad, you know, too, you know, renovating the whole splash pad.
Correct.
That's something y'all can.
Correct, yes. We use Recreonics out of Louisville, and we also have they carry a Vortex brand, which has been around for years and years and years, and also have installers to do that. Just main thing is, are you doing a recirculatory system, or are you doing a water runoff? That makes a big difference in price and a lot of other issues too. So that'll depend on what you all decide to do.
Last of December, this council has decided to put together a EDC board to bring in small businesses, promote small businesses, and that's one of the reasons why we're putting that board in, you know, to try to promote our small businesses and bring in some more activities and businesses, so.
Well, I know the number one thing people look at, businesses look at, one of the, other than schools, is the parks. Several parks we've done in small areas, we're really surprised at what it did bring in, especially if you address the special needs. You know, there's a lot more anymore to a park. When I started 27 years ago, you threw up a slide, you threw up a swing. I'll date myself, we all had those stainless steel ones that burned you going all the way down. There's so much more now to a community and what the community needs. Now with 1 in 34 boys on the spectrum, you know, sensory is a large thing. We have to worry about our kiddos in wheelchairs that cannot get out. There's just so many more things now than when I first started, which it's a good thing, I'm glad there is, of what, you know, and every community is different. I've had people come to me and go, oh, well, you did this here, what about here? It's like, that may not be what you need. We want to do what is needed here, what the most people need and what the children need for this area. So we like to go out, we like to talk to people, we look at statistics, we look at all kinds of things. We don't just put, you know, together. So, you know, we would love to have that opportunity. If you all decide to do some type of community engagement, we can, you know, help with that process also. We want to be a partner. We don't want to be a vendor. We don't want to be a sales rep. We want to be a partner. We live here.
Well,
My installers' children play on these playgrounds.
Yeah, I went over to DeWitt Park the other day to look at all that facility, and the only complaint that I've had, of course, I went up and talked to some of the parents and wanted them to know that I wasn't stalking out no children. And the only complaint they had is wondering why that we didn't have a fence maybe right there as that slide comes down, because that's right next to the parking area, you know. That's something we might want to look into.
Yeah.
A lot of places are putting fences up now because we have so many children that are runners. You know, if a parent is comfortable, that's why I like a lot of shade also. If they're, and let's be honest, guys, caregivers. We have a lot of grandparents here raising children. They cannot chase these kiddos. It's wide open over there, especially. So a fence is very, very important for that. It's also very important, you know, that they can get to their children if they get hurt or where they're at. So there's a lot of factors in design now that, you know, we didn't, I'll be honest, we didn't look at it 15 years ago. We did not look at that.
Yeah.
We didn't look at the demographic of who's bringing these children to the park. A lot of times, guys, it's a single parent with 3 children. Try to keep up. I'm a grandparent. I know now why we have kids when we're young. Trying to keep up with my 2- and 5-year-old, you know. That fence is really nice.
Because that slide's only about 7 feet off of the parking area there, you know, because I stepped it off.
Right. Everything, like I said, fence is one of the number one things that is also looked at now. It's changed over the last 5 years, but a lot of it's got to do with multiple families, multiple age groups. And a lot of grandparents, you know, they just can't chase, you know, the kiddos down. But a lot of children now, with especially on the spectrum, are runners. The schools are starting to have to put fences up because of that same reason. So there's a whole lot of factors that go into a particular playground, especially for a city, that, you know, it's got to be looked at to see if it's what you need for your constituents or not.
Well, I think it is a need, and it's a need especially for that end of our community in North Litchfield. I know for a fact there's kids there that don't go to the swimming pool. They don't play ball.
Yep.
They don't come to City Park to fish. They're stuck over there on their streets that they live on. And it's perfect opportunity for these kids to get some normalcy with the rest of the community, to me.
Couldn't
Mayor-
agree more.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we seek additional proposals through Sourcewell.
Motion from Terry, do I have a second?
What was that again, Terry?
I'll make a motion to seek additional proposals through Sourcewell. They're a part of Sourcewell.
I'll second.
Second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else would like to address the council at this time?
Well, I'm gonna come up here anyway because I came to speak about all this, and I came kind of on behalf of Turkey, because he had been working really hard on it.
Speak into your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because he had really been voicing his opinion on all this to try to let another company put a bid in for it. And after you had, especially saying that about Litchfield losing its best friend, and Carolyn and I talked, and I just needed to be here, and so I had a big, long talk prepared. However, I didn't need to do it, and I know that he would be very happy that you all went ahead and opened it up for bids from other people so that the city could make sure that they got everything that they needed, and it was the best product.
Well,
And
he took care of a lot of people, and him and Carolyn did, and over the years exchanged students and everything came in here, and his heart was with this community. And we talked just the day before that he passed, and he was just telling me, he said, just push on and keep going for our constituents. He said, you love the children is one of the most important things in our lives. We didn't have any birth children, but we raised a lot of children. We worked in a Christian school, and I had a house full of kids. Ruby and I did every weekend and took them places, and wish we'd had something like this that we could have had then, way back, that was way
yes.
back when. And so, you know, I know Bill would want us to continue in doing what we're doing, but really consider all of our children and everything that's, because he loved children, we love children, and
Yes.
I know they,
Yeah, so tonight Carolyn, of course, she would have came, but couldn't be here, and so I got sent. And since I was here and sat through all this and listened to everything, which was wonderful, I figured I better get up here and let you all know why I was here.
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you, ma'am.
We still have his beautification award too.
Oh, I know, I actually thought of that.
It is actually at the funeral home. Yes.
I had looked today, and I was thinking.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I put it in a nice frame and took it out there this morning.
Anyone else?
Surely,
all.
surely there's somebody else.
Council, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come speak. Most of you know me. My name's Josh Wagner, and I'm Tammy's son back there with Miracle Playgrounds in Kentucky and Tennessee. It has been my honor to serve the city of Leitchfield with the playgrounds over the last several years. And like she said, we want to be a partner for you guys. When a couple years ago, when that sensory museum came out and came to be, our corporate reached out and said, where can we put one of these for the photo shoot? Now, we are celebrating our 100th year anniversary this year. Miracle Playgrounds is. And we could have put that anywhere in the world. But we said we have nothing like that in the city of Leitchfield for our children. And we partnered with Parks and Rec and some local donors to make that happen and make the very first one in the world be in Leitchfield, Kentucky. We want to be partners with you guys. We want to bring forth opportunities for grants. We were able to help with that too with Bevel Park. When the bid came out and we were awarded it, we also let you all know about the Crumb Rubber Grant that paid for, I believe, $64,000 for rubber surfacing. A couple years later, we let them know about the Christopher and Dana Reeves Grant, which paid for your glider up at Bevel Park. That was something that was, done through a collaborative working together with Parks and Rec and the city. And we want to continue to do that. When it comes down to these designs, this isn't something that we can just throw on the table and say, here you go. We want you to be a part of it. We want you to be a part of the design. Tell us what you're looking for. After you do your research from your constituents, come back to us. We'll be more than happy to come meet in the conference room in there, put the playground design on the screen. You all can pick every slide, every climber, every color, doesn't matter. We can truly make this park something that's unique to you and that you all can stand beside and say, this is what we wanted and we got it right the first time. It's a great opportunity to partner with us. We appreciate your all's willingness to let us put a bid in through Sourcewell. That's something we weren't able to do before. We have received several jobs through you guys, but it was through competitive bidding, and we're proud that you all are taking that next route to do that. But we have a lot of people here in this community, like you said, maybe some who didn't know, but there's a lot of people who do, as you all saw from K105 and the different things, people reaching out there's some people we didn't even know would reach out and said some things. So we got a lot of phone calls. Several of you reached out to me this week. I appreciate you. George is one of the first ones who did.
Yes.
A few of us, talked to Clayton, Tim. They all stopped by our office and saw us, and we appreciate that. And we wanted that to happen more often. Like I said, I know several of you have gotten calls, and the response you've given is phenomenal. And Mr. Dallas, I really appreciate what you said and everything about that. Ms. Haycraft, I appreciate you making that motion, giving us that opportunity. It means more to us than I can explain. This is personal to us. This has been my life for 17 years. It's been in my life for 27 years. Our job is to create spaces and forge memories for children and families for years to come. There's very few things that are going to be consistent in your life. Taxes is one, but I'm going to count playgrounds as another. Because no matter if you're the child for the first time or a grandparent taking your kid, you have a memory of a playground from birth to death almost. And that's what we do. We forge memories. We forge opportunities. And now we're giving children the opportunity to play in a safe environment where they can express themselves freely without fear of being on the sideline, not just saying, hey, we put one piece in, that's good enough. But no, we want to do more than check a box. We want to knock it out of the park. And there would be no better place in this world that we would rather knock a playground out of the park than the city of Leitchfield. I guarantee you our team will work hard for you. We will be there when you need us. There will not be a delay.
Exactly.
If anything comes up, we will have somebody there same day. That is a promise. We are on 931 Commerce Drive and proud to be there. We're proud to be in Leitchfield. And we want to continue this partnership. We want to continue to work with you guys. And I appreciate your willingness to work with us and the ability for us to put in a competitive bid. Thank you. If you have any
Josh,
questions.
when y'all put that
Thank you,
park
Josh.
in over there, did y'all get some
I'm sorry?
grant money for the city? Did y'all get some grant money on that Bevel Park?
So when the Bevel Park came up, we were awarded the bid, and we would let the Parks Director at the time know about a potential grant opportunity for that, which paid for the crumb rubber that went in, the poured in place surfacing that went into the crumb rubber grant. So we got them all the information they needed. They applied for it through the state and was awarded it.
And you're our hometown.
Yes, sir.
That's very important. That's
It
what
is
we're
very
always
important.
talking
I
about.
100%
We're just
agree
hold-
that it is very important.
We-
However, we can't, on this project, we can't compromise on the project. So, I mean, throw it out there. This is going to have to be, it's going to have to include everything. Everything has to be included in this project. Turnkey, splash pad, expansion, the playground, all of the sensory aspects of the playground. It has to hit every mark. So that's what, I mean, I just want you to go into this in that mind frame. It's not, it can't be this and then this. It is the whole picture. It's the whole project.
Sure.
All
We're
right.
ready for that. And the one thing we want to make sure is that we are, targeting like families who have children and, seniors and wheelchairs and have mobility issues with a ramp system. I'm sure some of you all have been to Funtopia in Elizabethtown, or you've been to the one we did at Freeman Lake. And when you have a system with a ramp, like Mom said, a lot of caregivers these days, they're not just kids, but it's way easier for a grandparent to go get their child on a ramp than it is crawling through nets and climbers and different things like that. It's also good for clear sight lines. We are going to take all that into consideration when we are designing this playground. We want our children to be number one. We want them to be safe. That is the number one priority we have at the end of the day. But what we also would like to do is that opportunity, once we put all this package together, and once you give us all your specs and the dimensions and everything that you want us to put in this bid, we'd like to come back and present it to you. And for us to present it to you and walk you through this and show you every single detail you're getting. And if the budget's 1.6 then, or 1.5 or whatever it is, we'll work off that. But like I said, we just appreciate the opportunity. I know our team appreciates you being here. We have several here, from our office, from our install team. They're proud to be here. They're the ones who, can say, hey, I took my kids there. I designed that. I built that. We were a part of that. It'll get some hometown encouragement for some people and some pride back in this community. And I'm
you're our
really excited
hometown.
about that. Exactly.
That's the point right there. You're our hometown.
These guys right here would love nothing more than for lunch on this summer or whenever to go back home and have lunch with their wives and children. Because we work out of town so much, they don't get that opportunity.
We
So
want them to
working
eat
home-
out.
Sir?
We want them to eat out.
Well, they'll go to hometown with their wife and children.
There you
How's
go.
that for lunch? But yes, so we appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate your willingness to, to listen and to hear the things. We appreciate you listening to your constituents through this last couple of weeks and everything. I know it's been probably a lot because they've been telling us, so I can only imagine. But again, thank you all so much for that opportunity. We will make you proud.
Well, I talked to one that was in Florida today, and hometown, and we had a good long talk and everything, and he said, you know what's right for our constituents, you always did, and so press on and let's keep this thing going and get it going. And so I told him, I said, you know me well enough to know that I'm kind of bullheaded, and I don't want to give up on anything, and you're our hometown, and so we appreciate that.
Thank you, Brother Clayton. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain an amendment to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second for Terry.
Aye.
Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.